we're gonna talk about finances tonight, but just so you know, I ain't BSing you. I ain't pulling your leg or nothing. I want my boy Trey to introduce himself and he's all about and why we're gonna talk about finances tonight. So Trey, introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are, what you do, what you specialize in.
Yes, so my name is Trey,
Hey, repeat that one more
Mexican
time.
loan officer. So
You kind of went out.
mortgages
Repeat that one more time.
work for state employees credit union. So I'm a loan officer. So mortgages, car loans, things like that. That's what I do.
Okay, and how long you been with them now?
About three years. Yeah, 3 years.
3 years. Word. So where you plan on taking that? Is that an industry you want to stay in the long run? Do you plan on like being your own branch manager one day? Or
Yes, definitely trying to be a branch manager. That's where the money at. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
okay, cool. So before we get started, I'm over here checking checking the audio right now. I gotta do this like every episode now because I'm just paranoid. I feel like I don't know if you know, but one episode, me and Dom literally shot a whole episode, and the volume wasn't working like the whole time.
For real?
Like, and that was like the Kobe. That was the Kobe tribute episode too. So I was so pissed, bro. Like, yeah, I don't even want to talk about it because we wasted a whole hour plus talking about stuff.
Right.
It was a good episode too. That's the crazy part. But all right. So I don't hear anything right now, which is kind of weird. You want to verify on your phone? You want to pull this up on your phone and see if you can hear yourself or me? Cause I know that we should be good. Everything looks good on the streaming software, but just on my end, I can't hear anything on my phone at least. And if you in the comments, if you I know we got a few viewers so far, but if you in the comments and you can hear us, make sure you.
Yeah, that
Oh yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I can hear myself now. I don't know. My phone was tripping. But as you can see from the description, if you're watching, we're gonna talk
Hold on for a
finance.
minute.
hmm
Yes, Grandma, what do you need?
So for the people that's just joining, tonight I'm with my boy Trey Newkirk. He's a loan officer with the State Employees Credit Union out here in Raleigh, and like I said, but me and him go way back. Since college. I've known this guy for a good 10 years now, pretty much, and yeah, man, he's one of the more forward-thinking people I know. He's all about investments, all about uplifting his community, and just building and growth. So we're gonna talk money, we're gonna talk finances, strategies, investment strategies, ways to maneuver through these uncertain times, etc. So,
Yeah, sure.
so you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, so and if you got any questions at all throughout this whole particular episode, make sure that you leave a comment in the chat wherever you are. I got the chat box up so I can see when people leave a comment or anything. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get this kicked off, man. First topic I wanted to talk about tonight would be credit and the credit cards. So I know that you got a lot of experience with the credit realm and building your credit and strategies involved with that. So I'll kind of let you take the ball on take the baton on this one. So you know how in your opinion, I'm gonna just ask you a few questions, and I guess you can just bounce off of the questions I ask, and we'll just go from there. So to get started on the credit topic, you know, if I'm someone completely new to the credit game, I don't have any credit established, and I'm looking to get my first credit card or establish my credit and start building my credit, what steps or what tips would you recommend for people looking to get started in that?
I would definitely say you gotta get a credit card. Um, a lot of people would tell you that to get your credit up, you just need to pay your bills on time. But if you are just paying your rent and your light bill and things like that, it doesn't really take a hit on your credit card. So a credit card is definitely like the way to go. I would get the max that you can get. So when I was like 21, I applied for a credit card. They gave me like 5,000. $1,000. So, they asked me that I want that. I said, hell yeah. So I got the highest one. Because to be honest, you got to have 30%. That's the max. So whatever you should get. So if you got a credit card for $1,000, then $300 is that max that you should ever go over, ever.
Right.
But what people don't know is 7 to 10% is what you really should stay at.
So
That'll boost
if you
this
go
point.
over if you go over that 25 or 30%, let's
It's
just
gonna bring.
I'm just trying to clarify. If you go over that 25 to 30% utilization across all your credit card balances, that's when your score starts going down. Is what you're saying.
Yes.
But if you keep it under that, your score won't be hurt by the utilization. But if you keep it below 7 to 10%,
Jump higher. It's going to jump higher than what it was.
okay.
You're talking like 20, 30 points.
Okay, but you want to make sure that you have at least some balances on your credit card. You don't want to just have 0% utilization, which means you're not using any of your credit cards at all. You want to use those credit cards at least a little bit throughout the course of the year, right?
Right. And another thing is, like, people say that, what they do is they do the 30% rule, but when it's time to pay the bill, they don't pay it off in full. Because they want to show that the credit bureau is having a balance. You know what I mean?
Right. So you want to keep that revolving balance. I'm familiar with the concept. You want to keep that revolving balance throughout the year, so it shows constant activity on the card, even though you don't have a huge balance on the card. Like you said, if you have $1,000 credit limit and you're using $300 out of that particular credit limit, which is will put you right at 30% utilization, it's best to pay that off. Let's say $50 this month or $100 that month. And then let's say you're still spending $25 to $30 a month on the card just to keep that activity going, as opposed to at once and then just not using the card the rest of the year, right?
Yeah. I mean, in these days in the world, there's no need for a debit card. You don't get cash back. So literally, a credit card is the only thing that you should ever use for anything.
Now
Because you're going to spend money on food anyway. You're going to spend money on groceries anymore. You know what I mean?
But now it is important to point out that if you plan on doing that, if you plan on using your credit cards exclusively for your spending or your bills, to make sure that you keep that balance low, like you were saying, because after 30 days, the no interest for the first 30 days, but after that, if you got a balance,
and that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But we're paying off in full every month.
So but I feel like you're contradicting what you just said. So I thought you were advising against paying it in full every month.
No, I was about to say do it. A lot of people say don't, but me, I do it because I don't want no interest. I don't want to pay the bank any money.
Okay, so you do advise paying off the whole balance every month, but in that case, you wouldn't recommend going over that 30% then, definitely, because you don't want to be stuck with paying a big credit card every month.
Yeah. Regardless, I still would never do 30% whether I was paying, whether I was paying it off or not.
Okay. Yeah.
Like my card never 30%.
Well, there you go. I mean, I agree with Trey here. I definitely got a couple cards, that are a bit over 30%. So I'm trying, but most of my cards have no balance or, very low balance. So
it's not 30% per card now. It's 30% of
your overall.
Your whole credit. Yeah.
Right.
So if you got 30% for one credit card, that's fine. As long as it's not 30% over your combined credit, it's cool.
Well, I meet the criteria then, so I won the game today. So all right, that's 1 point for Sevo. So let's see if I can check off all the rest of these boxes though. So I got my utilization below 30%. You hear the man. If you got credit cards, make sure you add up all your credit limits together. So if you got one for $1,000 credit limit, and let's say another one with a $2,000 credit limit, another with another $2,000 credit limit, well, that means you got $5,000 in total available credit. So if you were to utilize 30% or less of that $5,000 credit limit, that would equate to roughly $1,500. So you want to make sure that you have less than $1,500 in total revolving balances across all of those credit cards. So Yeah, like I said, Trey giving out the gems early, so y'all make sure y'all share this. Y'all make sure y'all like the video, subscribe if you like what you're hearing or learning any new information. Um, yeah. So now on to the actual, you know, when to use the credit card aspect of things. I know you mentioned that you like to use the credit cards for pretty much anything nowadays because of the cash back purposes involved. But did you want to expand on that or expound on that idea a little bit?
Like I said, you're gonna, you're gonna need food. You're gonna, you know, go to the grocery store and things like that anyway. So those things that you're gonna spend anyway, why not save money by whatever you spend? 1.5, 2%, 3% of whatever you spend, it comes back to you. So in a way, it's like saving money because if you use a debit card, you don't get any money back.
Right. Now, one
So
thing that I would,
credit card needs that you're going to spend anyway, not like spend your money on. It's things that you already gonna buy.
yeah. Now, one thing I would like to add to that point you just made. I don't know if most people realize this, but when you get a new credit card, depending on who the card is through, most of the times they have their own, little rewards program associated with that cash back. So, let's say like Discover, for example, they're a perfect example. On my Discover card, their program changes every 3 months. So, for January through March, they might give you 5% back on purchases or Walmart purchases or Amazon.com purchases or something like that. And then, April through June, that 3 month period, if you activate that perk, you might get 5% or 3% back on all gas purchases, or purchases at the grocery store, So things like that, those little programs, you want to make sure that you're staying in the loop and activating those perks if you have to activate them. For the most cards, you don't, but for the revolving ones like Discover or Amex, if the program switches every few months or so, usually you have to go into the website or the app and actually activate that cash back offer, and make sure that whatever card. So if your Discover card has perks or extra cash back for convenience store gas purchases this month, you're using your Discover card when you fill up the tank this month. And if your Amex card is giving you extra cash back at the grocery store, well, you'll use your Amex card at the grocery store. So
Right,
it's good to keep those things in mind as well to maximize those cashback benefits.
right, most definitely do that.
So is there anything else in particular on that particular topic that you wanted to touch on?
Nah, I think you got it. Day to
Cool.
day things, yeah, basically.
Now, as far as saving, this is something that I'm interested in hearing as well from you because I know you're one of the better savers that I know, and it just comes natural to you at this point. So, I really would like to pick your brain and figure out, okay, what goes through your mind when you're saving money, or what process do you follow? Because I know at this point it's just like second nature. You're just so disciplined when it comes to, stashing money away. So just tell me a bit more about what your process is when it comes to saving money.
So a lot of folks, when they get their check, you know, they, they pay their bills, then they, spend their money, and then whatever's left before they get their next check, that's what they put in their savings account, right?
Right.
And a lot of times, shit come up, you see something. By the time it's 2 weeks later, you don't even have money to put in your account.
Yeah, because you've been looking at that balance the whole time. Like, hey, I still got a couple $100 left. I can spend this.
I still got it in my account.
Yeah.
When I get when the money comes in my account, the first thing I do is I put into the savings account. So I pay myself first. A lot of people don't do that. You have to pay yourself first. Why are you working to pay somebody else shit? You pay yourself first. Now it could be $100 a month, could be $200 a month, whatever. Pay yourself first. That's the first thing that I do. I
Yeah.
pay myself first. So that makes your balance smaller. So you already know in your head, okay, this how much I got to play with. It's not as much as you thought because you already put that account away, and
Right.
that account is locked. So you won't even go to that account unless you dying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I think about it. I pay myself first. I mean, the rest is like, you know, just being low maintenance. You don't need a lot of stuff. You know, I try to live below my means. You know, they say like 40% of your salary should be saved. You know, that's I know a lot of people ain't doing that, but I would definitely, 10, 20% try to start there and then work your way up.
Now, that's exactly what I was gonna ask you next to follow up. I was gonna ask you, um, just based off of what you've learned over the years, I know your situation is probably a bit different, but just based off what you've learned over the years, for the average person, if they're just starting off, following these recommendations you're making, what dollar amount or percentage of their income do you recommend they save or start saving?
I think it depends on how much they make.
Okay.
Now, I know people who are saving money but got credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're still in a hole because if you saving money, say you put it in the savings account, that's uh 1% of your money, but you have a credit card bill and that's 21%. You're not saving anything
Right. Right.
because that money is for the credit card.
So you
So
recommend paying off your credit cards in full before you start saving? Because I mean,
yeah,
I'm kind of conflicted here. As
yeah,
you know, I used to be a financial advisor, and for that little bit of time I was, what we were taught was that, yeah, you want to get rid of your debt. Everybody should,
no,
and
not debt, just credit card debt.
right, right. Well, in particular, credit card debt, because that out of all the debt, that's usually the highest interest rates. That's usually what you need to get rid of first, right? Is the credit card debt.
Right.
So, knowing that, you also know, or most people know, that they also need an emergency savings base. So, if you don't have 3 to 6 months of fixed expenses saved up, that's something that most people, or pretty much all people, should be working to save as well. Is 3 to 6 months of whatever their bills are. So if you have someone that needs to build that emergency savings up, but also has a few $1,000s of credit card debt, you know, what's the priority? Because what we were taught was that we need to save at least those 3 months up first, and then start snowballing the debt. But it was taught that we need to save that 3 months up, because if anything can happen at any moment, and you want to make sure you have an emergency cash base for those unexpected,
Right.
expenses.
It's going to take you longer to save up 3 months paying that credit card than it is if you pay it off in full. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
if you pay your credit card off right then and there, right, and then like 2 3 months, then you save, then you're better off if you know, if you're saving little scraps here and still got that large credit card debt. That's my opinion. You know, Mark Cuban has said this. Just not me, but I think it's going to take you longer. I recommend you paying off the credit card debt first because it'll take you a short amount of time than if you're having stuff on the side, but you're still getting that 21% of that balance. See, that's the thing. Credit card is 21, 24%.
Talking about the interest rate, the
Yeah.
APR.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Credit
yeah.
card. So
For
that's
most people, that's what most people have, especially when you don't have much credit, or, not the best credit. But one thing I will say is, to add to what you were saying, I don't think that you touched on this, but another thing, I'd say it's hard for you to pay off your credit cards in full at the moment, and it's also hard for you to save at the moment, and you just feel like you don't have any options at all. Well, while you don't have as many options as you probably should or could have, you still have options like balance transfers, for example. If you have a decent credit score, at least 600 or up, or 650 and up, you should still be getting offers in the mail or online or whatever for new credit cards. So you want to keep in mind, whenever you get a new offer, if they have a 0% APR period for like 12 months, so the first 15 months, or a balance transfer offer with 0% fees on balance transfers for a certain period. You can actually consolidate all your credit card debt into one card if you have a big enough credit limit with that card. And instead of paying three, four, five different credit card bills, you're only paying one credit card bill a month now. So that eliminates a lot of the extra expenses right there. And if it has a 0% APR grace period for 12 months or 15 months or whatever, that's you're guaranteed to not have any interest associated with the debt on that card for at least a year. And so you could take as much time to pay that debt off within that year period, knowing that you're not accruing any interest in the time being. And so these are things that make sure that you can get yourself out of debt and have more money freed up to save and build that emergency cash up without increasing your debt meantime to the point where it nullifies all of the progress you made. Did that make sense? Did I explain that good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And like for people who are like I'm struggling right now, who really don't have much savings, this month is a critical month because this is a few months where you're getting your tax check and you get the stimulus check.
Right.
So if you getting both and you got two, three kids, you could get like $6,000-7,000.
Right.
That's off the bat. So
Now,
you
most people
know,
that
this month,
most people that got kids, just keep in mind, most people that got kids and already filed and got their taxes and spent, spent most of that money at this point. So,
to-
you know, um,
but you
now,
might get two or three from the stimulus. So
yeah, that
that's
extra 1,200 or 2,000 that they're
12.
gonna get from the stimulus, now that's a whole nother ball game though. That money hasn't touched yet, and I'm hearing that money.
And that's money that they didn't take out your check. That's money that you ain't think that you was gonna get.
Right,
So
right.
hopefully, if you need that for rent,
Yeah, because a
you
lot
can
of
use.
people, are falling behind on rent right now. Apparently, the you know we're talking 1,000%, 2,000% increase in the number of people, falling behind on rent. Just in the last few weeks due to this whole coronavirus situation and this recession that we're currently in right now. So it's wild, man. It's a crazy time we're living in, but that's why we're talking and having the conversations that we're having because we're trying to make sure that y'all don't fall into the same traps that people fell into 10, 12 years ago when the last recession hit, and make the same mistakes that we made, coming out of college and just living life in general.
And this is another thing about credit cards and buying shit. Like I see people, they're getting loans for like a couch and a TV and little things like that. Me, if you can't pay for those things in full, then you don't need to buy.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the rule.
And
Well, actually, my rule is 10 times, but a lot of
I
people,
thought it was 3 times. You can't buy it 3 times.
I did 10 just to,
Where
you know.
just to make sure that you can really really afford it, right?
So if you getting the TV, even on Black Friday, if you getting a TV, that shit like $900. If you can't pay, well, I'm gonna use you. If you can't do it 3 times, you don't need to do it.
And if you buy a TV on Black Friday, I would hope you're not paying $900. I would hope you're getting a $200-300 TV or something. If you,
Then they getting the 6 inch, you
you
gotta they got go crazy.
hey, look, the 4K TVs done dropped, man. I know I seen 4K 50-inch 4K TVs for like $200 this Black
I haven't
Friday.
see. I don't even go to the store out there. 'Cause I ain't
Like,
want to tell. So I ain't
yeah,
going.
see, but I got. I mean, I feel like everybody got 50-inch TVs all around the crib nowadays. So I don't get tempted like I used to. Back then when 5 years ago when this stuff was new, it was like, dang, TV for that cheap. Like now they're giving the TVs away nowadays. So
But things like that, couches, furniture, they'll just put it on their credit card.
and
Yeah.
another thing, bro, I don't know if you know, this this new company, Affirm, they making it even worse, right? They really fucking the game up. Not only can you finance the stuff you could always finance, like the stuff you was just talking about, nowadays they got people financing clothes, streetwear, people financing Jordans, people financing concert tickets. Um, yeah, this shit crazy. I was on the website the other day and they gave the option for a firm, and it was like, you could break this up. And I think I was trying to buy, I forgot what I was trying to buy. I was trying to buy something and flip it, like a Nintendo Switch or something. But anyway, the point I'm making is you can finance every damn thing nowadays because these companies are like really, they really out here. you
Scary.
know, and it's scary, bro, because they make it all nice and appealing, 0% APR and all of that, but it's like,
In the back end.
yeah, like they just increasing the amount of bills you have on a monthly basis for what? Just so you can have an extra pair of Jordans, like
Glad
what?
you said that because that's the same thing with Salos. When we call it at our branch, it's called a salary advance loan or a payday loan. If you have that, you can go ahead and cut that shit off right now. That's
Oh, so
the
that's what a payday loan is, the Salos.
that's exactly what it is. If you got that, cut it.
Why do you say that? Because I mean, I'm pretty sure we're on the same page, but just so the people that's listening could understand, why would you say that?
So basically, a payday loan is they'll give you an advance for $500 or $1,000. I know with our credit union, you don't get five, but some people do it more than that. Whatever your check is. So basically, they give you advance for $1,000, and then in 2 weeks when you get paid, you have to pay that back along with 33% of interest.
Wait, 33%?
I seen a high. I seen a high.
At the credit union they charging
No,
33%?
no, no, not at a credit union.
Oh, I was about to.
But I seen we don't charge like 9%, which is unheard of. But like them check cash places,
I
check,
never knew that. The check cash places charge 33% interest after
they
two
charge
weeks.
around that. It's around that. I'm not saying because I never been in there before, but I
Yeah,
know. I heard from like some of my members, like,
and that's only for the 2 week wait, right?
yes, it's
So
crazy.
so for the
It's
credit union, it's 9% for the 2 weeks.
it's like 9.75 on that.
And so you said that rate's actually good compared to the industry.
Actually, wait, it's 13 point something. My bad. It's 13 point. Yes.
Okay.
Payload at a check cash place is higher than a credit card.
Wow. And in the period, the
And I
turn.
think it's based on your credit score. And everybody who going there got 500. So that's gonna boost that up. It's gonna boost it up like that. Yeah.
What, the check cash in place? So getting a salary advance loan at a check cash in place boosts your credit score?
No, it doesn't boost your credit score, but I'm saying like folks who go there usually got 500 credit scores, 600,
Yeah.
mostly five.
Yeah.
So they're gonna boost your interest rate up because of that.
Oh, okay. So they do check your credit when you get those
Now,
advances.
yeah, now they're gonna give you one anyway because you know
They want their
that's
money. They're just gonna get you a higher interest rate.
what your credit score is. But yeah, them things is hot, man.
Now, are those hard checks or soft checks when they pull your credit?
I'm not sure. I would think it'll be hard though.
That's interesting, bro. So, I mean, I'm assuming anybody can get those types of
Yeah,
salary
anybody,
advance loans. Like, even if you got a 350 credit score, like, they're still gonna give you the
man.
loan,
Listen,
right?
I have approved somebody, yeah, like that. As long as they don't charge us a loss, then we're gonna give you that for real.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, do you guys increase the interest rates based on the actual
Uh, we're a credit
credit?
union, so we don't do credit based scoring.
Okay, and
If
that's what I
you
was thinking.
500 or 700, you still get the same rate.
Okay, cool. So if you hear that, if you are a credit union member and you need salary advance loans, we're not recommending this. It's not financial advice, but
We're not getting one. We're not getting
you
one.
know,
We're not getting
if you need one, go to the credit union before you go to the other guys. But we don't recommend that. That's not no.
one.
It's not in
But
our.
basically, like, they spend their check, and then as soon as you get paid again, you got to give it back to them. It's like
It's,
that's really
it's like a racket, bro. It's like
really crap.
they're doing the
That's
same. They doing the same thing the IRS do every year.
that's a trap, man.
Rob us.
I hate those.
Yeah, man. But we can talk about that all night. But now saving for your children though. I know you mentioned that you wanted to talk about this as well because neither one of us have or has any kids as far as I know.
Uh,
Knock
oh,
on
I,
wood.
I, I thought you had one a couple of days
Oh
ago,
nah, that was April Fool's joke, bro. You saw it.
and
Come on now.
I didn't get the I didn't
You
get it.
didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the man.
Well, yeah. So, like I said, I don't know anything about saving for children. I know you can do like a 529 plan and start, stashing away money for their college,
Yeah.
funds or whatever. But other than that, it's really very little I know about saving for your children and their future. So, could you want to expand on that? What you know, what you recommend?
So if you a small business owner, you got your own LLC, then you could literally pay your child up to $12,000 a year in tax-free money. So that means you can write 12,000 off on your business, saying that you're paying your child to work, minor labor, and that's $12,000 that's not going to show up on your taxes, so you don't have to pay that, and it's tax, you don't have to pay taxes on it. So you just give them $12,000 a year, which it's going to be a joint account. So basically, you put in $12,000 in you and your daughter's account or you and your son's account, and you can use that for whatever. But supposed to, that's saving too. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, definitely. And so what type of businesses are eligible to do this type of thing? Is it any small business where
Yeah,
you can have your kids help you
LLC.
out?
I think if you got your LLC, sole proprietorships and stuff like that, then you will
Yeah.
be able to do it.
Okay. So you don't have to have either or. You don't have to have a LLC in particular or a sole proprietorship in particular to do that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter what type of business, as long as you got your own
Okay. Cool.
file, file, and not no side shit.
Right. Right. Now, what about 529 plans? Do you have any experience with those or any knowledge on those?
Yeah, so but see, the 529 plan, it's the best school plan out there because there's some plans that say you have to go to college, you
Mm.
know,
Right.
with a 529, it actually you can use that to um spend on, like, I mean, type of educational things. So say say um your kid does not want to go to college, they want to go to trading school or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
you know you could use that to pay for the child's way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and that's only for certain 529 plans you said, right? All of them aren't eligible for that, right?
Yeah, I know ours is, but it just, I think it depends on who you get it with.
Okay. Cause yeah, that was something that I was also privy to when, like I said, I was in the finance industry. That 529 plans, all of them aren't built the same. Some of them are specifically for college, like you said, while
Yeah.
some of them are more lenient. You can use them
Which
for.
I don't recommend, because what if your kid don't go to college?
Right.
Then all that money paid up, is they got to be taxed.
And you can also use that money for like private schools and charter schools and stuff like that as well, right?
Yeah, at least
Okay.
definitely.
Cool. Now, so 529 plans and having your kid work for you if you own your own business. Were there anything else, or were any other things in particular that you wanted to add to saving for your kids? Um,
Yeah, on any trading platform, there should be what's it called? It's called it's like a beneficiary account where you can trade for your kid.
it's
And
like paper
basically,
trading.
well, it's like a account where you basically trade in your kid's name.
But are those real trades or are those like paper trades?
Well, they're real trade. So you buy stock now in their name. So they're 2 years old. You set up an account for them
Mm-hmm.
that you're buying stock in their name, and then when they get older, it'll just become theirs. So you just like a manager of the account. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're just managing the account, and then you know when they get older, then they'll just take it over. So that's basically it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You're gonna have to give me more info on that. You got a website or a resource on that?
Um, I trade through Fidelity,
Yeah,
so I think I can get you some stuff on that.
yeah. I don't do any trading through Fidelity. I know I used to have my 401k through them, and I couldn't do any trading because of the way my old job had it set up. So
Oh,
when
you,
when I left, I actually transferred. Um I did a rollover to
yes.
another account with my actual financial planner, and so now I got an IRA instead of a 401k. But I don't do any trading with that money. That money is just in the market, and we got fund managers that actually do all the trading for that particular fund that I'm in. So I'm in an
Do
aggressive fund with that. So Yeah, my portfolio really took a hit over the last month or so.
No, I'm saying your fees. We all took a hit.
Oh yeah, yeah. But what you mean the fees? I got charged fees when I first bought into the fund, but I
And
have.
you should get a hit every quarter. If somebody is managing your account,
Oh yeah, yeah. They do charge me a little
that's
fee every quarter, but I'm talking. I'm thinking about the big fee. Like they charged me a few grand when I first, bought into the fund.
what?
I had to pay like at least 2 3 grand at least just to buy into the fund.
Why'd you do that?
I mean, they took it out of my money. It was like I didn't pay it. But it was like it just took it out of my 401k. But yeah, to buy into that particular fund, and that's why I was like, I called my planner like a few weeks ago, and I was like, hey, look, the market crashing and shit. I might need to you know, I might need to switch from aggressive to conservative. Buy into another fund. And he was like, did you listen to any fucking thing I told you when you were here? Like, he was basically like, look, if I do that, first of all, it's gonna classify as churn because like he was saying that I can't just be buying into new funds every few months, every year. So then the fucking they're gonna audit him, and they're gonna look at him and be like, okay, why is he, you know, switching around funds every year? And
Right.
because not only does that, like I said, count as churn legally, but it also means that every time he buys into a new fund, he has to sell my shares out of the current fund, buy my way into the
Yeah.
new fund, and that is where the fees come in. So that's why I got to pay 2 3 grand every time I switch like that, and so it really nullifies any gains I'm gonna make in the short term. It wipes those gains away because I'm paying a few grand just to switch my allocations over.
Right.
But yeah. So one more question about the 529 savings plans. Do you know what the limits are on those? Like the yearly, annual limits that you can throw into a 529 plan?
Uh, let me look at my website. I don't know if I don't know for most, but for us, I think it depends if you're married.
Word.
Let me check.
It says I just looked it up. It says 14,000. I don't know how true this is. Yeah, it says your yearly contribution limits are the same as your individual retirement account. So the limits are
Seven.
set. Hmm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I'm saying it says the limits are set by the states and can be as high as 380,000. But to avoid gift tax consequences, federal law allows single taxpayers to contribute up to 1,000 in 1 year, or make a lump sum contribution of 70,000 to cover 5 years. Married couples may contribute as much as 28,000 per year, or
Okay.
140,000.
I know you get double, so yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, cool. Well, is there anything else you wanted to touch on as far as the children saving for the kids or anything like that, or did you want to just move on to the next topic?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right. So next up was investments. What to invest in? So where should I put my money, or anybody, any average retail investor that's trying to get into the market, especially during times like this where we're in the middle of the start of a recession. Who knows? We may be on our way to the next depression. The way shit's looking right now, 6.6 million jobless claims last week, another 6.6 million this week. So literally 16 or almost 17 million people have filed for unemployment in the last 3 weeks. So it's obvious that the economy is like falling through off a cliff right now, and that people is out of work. No telling when most people are going back to work. No telling when anything's gonna start back up worldwide. We got all of the sports leagues canceled and everything else in between. So a lot of people are
Right.
really feeling like there's no way to put your money up, at least on the investment side of things, and get a good return because everything's just falling off a cliff right now. Now I know that's not true, but most people don't. So explain what recommendations you would have for the average person that's trying to get into investments at this particular moment in time.
So I think you should invest in what you know. So if you into tech, and we know tech is not going anywhere, it's going to get stronger, then invest in that. For the average person, who doesn't know anything, I would suggest investing in the S&P 500, which basically, to dumb it down, it's all-star team. So it's the top 500 companies of United States. So that's LeBron, Curry, Kevin Durant. It's all on the same team, right? So right now it's been a big dip. If you look at the market right now, it went down, through these 2 months, it probably went down about 20, 25%, maybe more. In the history of the S&P, it has always recovered from any type of decline it's been. 100%, always recover.
Now, how soon does that usually happen though?
A year or two max, max.
So you're saying
And this,
we should be out of this by 2022?
yeah, oh, we definitely gonna be out of it by 2022. Now that's what history says. Since the whole market has been going on, now, 10 times out of 10,
Yeah,
you're going to get your money back and make profit in a year or two.
yeah. And so just
I think right at like $200 something, which follows the real one, you know,
what's that 200 something? Spy?
a SPY. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
basically index fund. And
yeah, I tracked. Playing with Spy right now. Well, it's actually it's on XPXL. That's like the bull, the three times bull index for Spy, and so
yeah,
that play is doing pretty decent. But I'm just amazed at how the markets are like even
so that's S&P 500. SPY, it's like a secondary to that, so it follows that. It's just cheaper. So
right,
it's like 270 right now instead of the 2,000. It's 278.
right. So
But
if we look at the
follow that.
all-time high for the S&P 500, that was 3380 on February 9th of this year. It hit 3,380 points. So right now it's at roughly 2,800 points, a little bit below 2,789 to be exact. So
That's the all time high.
all time high is 3,380
So
for
that
S&P.
tells you that if the all time high was, when was this?
This was 2 months ago, February 9th.
So that means that it has never, you know, it's all.
Yeah, and because I mean, we had to reach after the last recession a decade ago. You know, we were at what 800. This was we bottomed out at around 870 points, or no, 770 points, March 1st, 2009, and before that, what this was November 1st, 2007. We peaked at around 1,500 points. So we're talking half of the market cap is gone. A year and a half later, yeah, a year and a half later, half of that market cap was gone from the peak, from the all-time highs. And let's see, I'm looking to see when it rebounded fully. Back in beginning of 2013 was when we reached 1,500 points again, and that was 3.5 years later. So it took a little bit more time, the last recession, for those gains to be fully realized, for that recovery to finish. So it took about 3.5 years, and it took about a year and a half for it to finish crashing in the first place. But the point Trey was making, that if you're looking on a long-term basis, there hasn't been any 10-year period in the market where you lost, where didn't possible for you to invest in the stock market like this, in these huge indexes, without walking away with a profit. If you look at it on a 5 or 10 years span. So
Right.
yeah. So wait, on a 5 year span, it's very unlikely. It's still a chance you'll lose money, but on a 10 years span, it's literally impossible that you'll lose money. And so, yeah, man, I'm in agreement with that. That it shouldn't take any longer than 2022 at the latest for things to hit back at all time highs, maybe even sooner, because I just feel like the way the markets are nowadays, things just move so much faster.
And there's some, stocks that's doing well right now. Like my, Apple and my Amazon stock is doing well, of course, because first with Amazon, everybody's buying shit.
Yeah,
So
that's all people can do is buy shit.
so that stock that I have right now is just doing well right now.
Apple,
So
Amazon, Walmart is doing good. I would assume I haven't checked, but I would assume Shopify is doing good. Any online platforms, Zoom, for online teleconferencing. You
yeah,
know,
Zoom.
Slack. I think Slack went public. Slack should be doing good right now. Um, Anything that involves teleconferencing, communications. Like long distance communications, and tech, shopping, yeah, anything like in that realm, pretty much all of the stores that are still open, and still making money right now, should be doing
Yeah,
good, if they're a publicly traded company. Um, but anything that's not open or, not doing too well right now because of this coronavirus stuff is pretty much doing terrible. Like airline stocks are doing terrible. I don't even know. I'm kind of mad I bought this put because it expires on like the 17th. I got to put on American Airlines right now, and this shit keeps going up for some reason. It was going down, but
gas.
every time they announce another fucking bailout, it's like the
Yeah,
stock goes up. you know,
that's how gas was.
Uh, and
I-
so yeah, now I'm like just oh man, I'm upside down on this play right now, and I'm kind of mad at myself for making it, but it's like that, man. Because these airlines should have had money
with
saved.
the market, a lot of people are buying.
You said what?
Yeah, I said a lot of people with the market, they're going to buy and sell off of emotion. So you see right now, a lot of people are trying to sell their stocks and get out. You
Yeah,
know,
but do you
and there's
see?
some people.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you
Go
saying?
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was saying, do you see any industries or any particular companies in particular not making it out of this, like going bankrupt and just, closing shop permanently?
Yeah, movie theaters. Movie theaters might not make it out of this.
Any of them, like all of them.
Well, because they were on the decline anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, most people want to stream. They're staying inside.
Right.
Second, you don't take a lady out on a date, you know, movie and a dinner. We not doing both. But because you're gonna eat before you're gonna go see a movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we got the Fire Stick at home,
Yeah.
so
That Fire Stick clutch, man.
$6 to get small drink at the movie theater.
That's
So
what really killing them. That's what's killing them
oh,
right there. Is more so than the movie prices. I feel like the fact that they overprice everything inside the movie theater because they know you want it. It's the convenience. Oh, okay, I'm gonna charge you $8 for a large popcorn just because I can. Like.
and as you see, I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of them are trying to do like subscriptions where you pay a certain amount a month, you get like 3, 4 movies a month.
Movie Pass really changed for them. Their pricing structure wasn't
It
really
might be a little
profitable.
too late.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
Movie Pass, even though they went bankrupt, they inspired the rest of the movie industry to start innovating on that end. And like AMC, which is like the biggest, even started their own subscription service. But instead of making the same mistakes Movie Pass made and charging too little, they're charging I want to say like $20-$30 a month for theirs.
crazy.
But it's unlimited
Nobody
movies. It's some
right.
people. There are some people out here that will look at that and be like, "Oh man, that's a great deal," because they go to the movies multiple times a week. There's just some people that like going to. So it's worth it for some people, but for most people, it's not really worth it. So, I hope that the airlines
Yeah,
and the movie theaters, if they make it out of this, I know the airlines will, but
it
speaking
definitely.
speaking to them and the movie theaters and any other industries that was highly affected by this pandemic. I hope that they really look in the mirror when this is all said and done and reevaluate their business models because there shouldn't be any reason why these companies should be going bankrupt or you know or threatening to fire all the employees after a couple weeks of no money. You should have more money saved up than that, you know. Um, and on top of that, I just feel like there's so much more room for growth on the efficiency side of things. Um, Whether it's, you know, like I said, the movie theaters charging too much, or you know, just airlines and, you know, what's the word, airports in general just not being as efficient and as user friendly as they should be, charging all these unnecessary fees and check bag fees, extra shit, TSA pre-check. This is just, yeah.
Get a flight right now for $50. Why can you charge us $50 before this shit?
Now, what I will say is those prices have started going back up, I think, because I just checked flights to Vegas and them shits is back to $100 and $200 for the round trip. And so it kind of hurt my feelings because I thought I was going to give me a little cheap flight to Vegas booked for, you know, this fall or something. You know?
Early, bro. I'll book mine early.
So, oh, you already booked you a couple flights?
I booked about 4 or 5.
God damn. When you book them for?
I booked mine for July. It's my earliest one.
Where?
That's in Cali, so I can, but you know, I can just get my money back.
Ah, man, I'm mad because like I really thought the flights was gonna be cheaper, like for a longer period of time. I sat on it, you know.
Nah, I think the more information that they know, they're gonna boost, you know, because they know more, so they're going to.
Now I feel like for them to be raising prices this early, that has to be a good sign that this shit probably is not gonna last too long. What do you think, though?
Right, we can get a handle. Now we're going back to partying and all this shit, right? Big and large. It will just come right back. If we don't have some type of vaccine, then it's just, you know, it's just there.
Yeah.
It's just, so I don't think like it, like right now it's slowing down. Well, I don't know what the numbers say, but say it's slowing down right now because everybody's in the house. As soon as we get back, you know, and be in large groups again, it's just going to what?
Yep.
Magnify. So
yep.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully this shit is over with sooner than later. My birthday is May 22nd, and I would like to do something. So, you know, it's not looking too good for me right now, though.
Yeah, it ain't.
So, all right, on to the next topic. This is something that I feel is a divisive topic because regardless of who you talk to, I feel like this is something that everybody will give a different answer on, and it pretty much depends on personal preference, in my opinion. But you may feel differently. Buying a car. So should you buy or lease a car? Is the next topic, and like I said, I'll let you handle this one because I have my own opinion, but I feel like that's biased because of my personal situation. So I'll let you explain.
So I personally lease on my cars every 3 years. You know, I do a 3 year span. You know, I don't do it more than 3 years because if you know, with any new type of car, the warranty is only protected for 3 years. So I lease my 3 year car. I make sure that my mileage is straight, and then you know, in 3 years, I get another car. That's how I'm rolling.
So you can do 1 or 2 year periods too, right?
Yeah, but the prices are a little higher, so I wouldn't recommend that. I mean,
okay.
But yeah.
So is it a lot higher or is it a little higher?
It's a little higher. It's not a lot, but you know.
Okay. So for a leased car, I guess you lease the car for 3 years, like you said you do. You know, obviously it's not the same as buying a car. So I guess, you know, for the people that don't understand the differences, could you explain the differences between leasing a car and buying a car? And also, while you're doing that, could you touch on the interest rate as well? What interest rate they charge for leasing a car for 3 years, if anything?
So there's no interest rate. I don't get no interest in my car. What they do is they charge me the depreciation value of the car once the 3 years is over. So they still check my credit score, of course, to make sure that I will be able to pay this back. But there's no interest rate. What they're charging me is the value of how much the car will go down in the 3 year span that I have the car.
And so that's number there. They've already calculated and crunched those numbers, and so when you come back to the table and you actually agree to that 3 year term, that's what you're gonna pay. Nothing more. After that 3 years is over, you return the keys, return the car, and that's it. You don't have to. You don't owe anything else.
It depends. Now I have a package in my plan where um, it covers any scratches, any worn down tires, stuff like that, that
Mm-hmm.
I would not have to pay it back. Now, if you don't have that in the package, say you scrape your car or it needs a new light or things like that, you will have to pay that back at the end of the lease.
But doesn't your car insurance cover that anyway? If you get into a little fender bender or something,
Yeah, most times, yeah. Now, yeah,
because you still have to have full coverage when you're leasing a car, right?
yeah. And gap insurance. You got to have gap insurance.
Right, right. All right. So
And anything like sometimes you can get your oil change plan into the term, so you don't have to pay for any oil changes. Say anything goes wrong, the engine, transmission,
now,
you
but
bring
the
it back.
but I was
They
gonna
do it.
say was, but the oil thing, I guess that all depends on how much extra they're charging for that, because you paying nowadays with these new cars and synthetic oil changes, you're paying $50, $60 per oil change, and you get an oil change every 3 months, let's just say on average. So, that's a good $200 or more a year you're spending just on oil changes. Now, how much extra is that when they add it into
Well,
the, you know?
so I didn't get the oil change patch because it would cost me more.
Mhm.
But with the like I said, I'm doing like 15,000 miles a year, right?
Mhm.
So basically, I get an oil change every 5 months, every 5,000 miles. So basically, if I get three oil changes, which would be my 15, that's every 5,000 miles. That's three times. Say my oil change is $45. So that's three times 45. That's it. That's all that I'm paying. And
Okay.
and and my first two was free.
So wait, you said you paid 15 per oil change?
No, I paid 40. It's like 45, $50.
Okay. So you were saying that you would end up paying like 45, 50 after it's all said and done, right?
No, per oil change. I probably
Oh,
get three here.
okay. I see what you're saying.
And my first two was free.
Yeah. Okay.
And not to mention they're gonna give you like promos, so 5% off, $10 off, things like that. You're definitely gonna get that.
Right. Right. So yeah, I'm looking at this chart right now, and it's just going through the difference between getting a car loan and a lease. And one thing I did notice is the cash due at signing. This example has you putting down $2,000 at signing for a 3 year lease. Is that something that you had to do, or was it?
No, I didn't have to do that. Um, you know, I didn't put no money down. Actually, didn't pay till like I got like the first month because with the back end. So I didn't pay my first payment until my second month in.
So, in what situations would they ask for cash due at signing if you have like a lower credit score or something?
No, I believe not with that, but I believe it depends on how you want your payment. If you want a lower payment, then you can put some money down
Okay.
on the car to lower your payment, which I don't recommend because if you put $3,000 down on a leased car and you wreck it the next week, you don't get that money back.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't recommend that.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Um,
The way I think about it is like if I got $20,000 in my hand, right,
mhm.
I can buy a car, right? You buy a car, you won't have a car payment for whenever, right? Or you could lease it out, right? Pay $400 a month, and then use that 19.6 to invest in something else, right? And say that car, you know, say you already put $20,000 in the car, but if you invest that 19.6, then you would have more money than you would in 5, 6 years.
Right, because that money's gonna be appreciating, it's gonna be growing, and
Now,
Yeah.
all cars is not. It's a car is not a investment. As soon as you walk it out the lot, you know,
It's depreciated. They used to say half of its value is gone, but it's more like 20-30% at least is gone as soon as you know.
it's a 100%. Now, and think about this: most people are getting 5, 6 year terms.
Yeah.
Like,
And they even 7-8 year terms now.
yeah, which is crazy. You shouldn't. If you can't buy a car more than 5 years, it's a red alert. If you shouldn't,
Yeah.
if you buy a car and you can't pay it off in more than 5 years, then you don't need that car. That's first off.
Yeah.
But second, if you're getting a 5 year plan, to be honest, most people get a car for 3, 4 years anyway, and they trade it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know people who, especially once they start getting money, they're not keeping a car for more than 5 years.
See me, I love my car. I feel like I'm an outlier. I got a 2016 Honda Civic. I got it when it first came out. So as soon as they switched the generation and the body style, I
This
got
the fourth.
mine. So I
This
still love my car.
this the 4th year in. You still got time.
You know what I'm saying? But like I don't see myself not wanting my car even in the next 5 years. Like
But
I've
see,
already had it for
a lot of
3 years,
people get car
4 years.
changes. You got kids, you get married, things like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna, do that. But when you trade, say you buying a car for 5 years, of course you're paying all the interest, right? In 3 years, something's gonna go wrong with the car, right?
Mm.
That's why they always up to a 3 year warranty on everything, and then after 3 years is when the wear and tear just happens on the car. So you're gonna be paying, you know, a couple $100, maybe more a year, just on the maintenance of the car.
Yeah,
Now
it's
it
the oil
depends.
changes alone.
Yeah, I mean, with a Hondas are good cars, so you're talking, and it's pretty cheap to fix them up, you know. But if you
Yeah.
got a Lexus, you got a Benz, things like that.
Oh, it's over for you.
Yeah, like,
It's over for you, bro.
o- over,
Oh
right?
my
And
gosh.
you're just gonna want to sell the car.
Yeah, and then you're gonna get yourself in a revolving cycle of debt because as soon as you turn that car in, trade it in for another newer Mercedes, it's like you're upside down, and that negative equity is just gonna get rolled over into the new loan.
And also depends on how much you drive.
Yeah,
If you drive into Charlotte and Raleigh every damn week, then that's probably a bad choice. But if you don't drive like that, then you will be fine.
yeah,
And also a lease will make your payment lower too. A lot of people don't know that.
yeah. I mean, I knew that, but I think that the reason why I was always like apprehensive against the leases as opposed to a loan was because like okay, yeah, my payment might be $100 or $150 lower a month, but I'm not gonna have any equity in anything. After I finish paying off this car in a few
But
years,
we don't know
I'll
equity
have
is something that's going to go down in value anyway. Do we?
right. I know investment. If you're just looking at it straight from an investment side of things, but I looked at my car payment
Right.
as more of a I need transportation. I need somewhere to some way to get around, and I don't want to have to keep paying on this. After a certain point, I want to be done with it. And so if you're leasing a car, you're
Okay.
always going to be making a car payment, you know.
Right.
Whereas if you
It's it's like a light. It's like a light bill to me. So I
right,
got in my head.
right, it's like a utility at that point. So me, I want to pay all of my I want to pay this utility off in a few years. You know, I want after the 4 or 5 years or whatever. I want to be able to say, hey, I get to keep my $300 in my pocket every month, and I still got my car. You know, and because I don't, like I said, I don't see myself ever getting rid of this car. I see myself keeping this car until I got kids in high school and pass it down to one of them. Because
They first of all, they're not gonna want that car.
oh man, they gonna have to take that car. Ain't gonna be, ain't gonna be no options.
They're not gonna want
The
that car.
only way they not gonna take that car is if the government that came out and say, "Hey, you can't drive your own cars by this point because all the cars driving themselves."
They do not.
And then I'm gonna have to sell it because I ain't got no autonomous. It's not no autonomous car. So you gotta drive it. But yeah, 20 years from now, kids ain't gonna know how to drive. There ain't gonna be no drivers there. They're just gonna hop in the car and the shit gonna go.
True. Which is scary, by the way.
Yeah, it's very scary because if the technology is like that for everybody to just ride around without actually knowing how to drive. Just imagine how crazy shit's gonna look the first time is a major traffic pile up because software then glitched and cars just
It
start.
does now with the Teslas.
That's what I'm saying. But imagine when all of the cars on that shit, like, and not only that, but the government. You know, if the government already can tap our phones and all that shit, and, you know, see all our bank accounts and all that. Imagine what they'll be able to see when all the cars is driving and talking to themselves. But that's just my conspiracy theories coming out, so don't pay me no mind.
And for a lease, you don't pay taxes and things like that. Like they just gave my tax and things like that. I didn't have to, do none of that too. I
Okay.
do got to pay my property taxes.
So you still got to pay the yearly taxes on a
Yeah,
lease.
but you can, of course, I'm writing them off. You can still write them.
Oh, okay.
Now, also, if you have your own LLC or something like that, you can write off your monthly payment on your lease onto your taxes. So
Now that's a good tip, right? That's a money
the
tip right there.
the monthly payments, things like that.
For all my finessers and tax avoiders, you hear that?
You can write it off.
Write that
Mileage,
write that lease payment off.
your payment, you can write it off, and the property tax, of course, which you can write off anyway.
Now, this is another big question. The next one is pretty similar to the last, but it's a bit more bigger of a purchase. Now
The biggest purchase that you will ever make.
should you buy a home, especially everything is recession related this episode because, like I said, it's the time we're living in. This is April 9th, 2020. We just started the Great Recession, the Great Coronavirus Recession of 2020. So, you know, we're trying to make sure we are relevant to the current times here. Now, should you buy a home, especially in this recession? It's my question to you.
I think it depends on your goal.
It depends on your location because this location we in right now is a
Is a
hot spot.
investment.
It's been appreciating crazily over the last few years.
250.
You said what?
Yeah. I said it's going for 250 and higher.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially.
like even townhouses nowadays, for 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse, you still paying 200, 220 depending on what area you in, which is like I said crazy in other areas, but that's the price of living in a hot spot, like this area, and from my experience, from what I've been seeing, even though people are starting to fall behind on rent and whatnot. Combined with the government's programs they're putting together, the mortgage deferences and all of that, to stop charging late fees for the rent and stop taking people to court for the rent. Regardless of all of that, I still feel like this is a good time to buy a home. I don't know if it's a good time to sell a home anywhere because you're just not going to get the best return on your buck right now with everyone going through these economic hardships. But I still feel like it's a good time. It's a good time to buy a home because you may be able to negotiate better rate. You may be able to negotiate some concessions during the closing process because everyone's struggling right now, right? So the sellers should be more understanding. And the interest rates are falling across the board.
Yeah. So we're looking at this as a house not being investment. Then if that's the case, yeah, of course, you should buy a home now. I mean, the rates are going lower and lower. Some dropping up to 2%. You see the red says drop their rates to like 0.5, maybe 0 now. But the rates as low as possible. That's when you should buy. Don't buy a home if your rate is 6%, 5% when it's out the roof.
Yeah.
So
5% actually historically is a good rate. It's just right now in this particular market, it's like I can get 3%, I can get 2%. But historically, if we're talking 10, 20, 30 years ago, there was some people with 10, 15% rate. My uncle said he bought his house at a 12% interest rate back in the 90s. And that was just a manufactured home. It's like a double wide trailer.
I think the question is, when should I buy a home? Because there's some people who have no money in the bank. They don't got the money to put down.
But see, that's where things like FHA loans come into handy. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but if you get a FHA, Federal Housing Administration loan, you can get a property with 0% down. Your interest rate is going to be a bit lower on the back end. I mean, a bit higher on the back end because that's part of the program. You get 0% down, and they'll finance the whole thing 100% just with a little bit higher interest rate. But I feel like even those are a good option depending on what your situation is or what you're looking at.
Do you think a fixed or a variable rate? I got it.
I think that a fixed rate loan is always better for the long term. If you're
Okay.
looking for the 20, 30-year period of the loan and you don't want to have to refinance, you don't want to have to refinance every few years, yeah, definitely go to the fixed rate route. But let's say you can't get approved for a fixed rate or you're comparing apples to apples and the variable rate loan will actually be a bit cheaper than the fixed rate loan up front because the interest rate is a bit lower due to the environment we're in with the market.
Right.
Well, it may make sense to get a variable rate loan up front and then switch over and refinance to a fixed rate loan after that 5-year period or whatever. It all depends on, like I said, your situation, the
Right.
budget,
Right.
what
Of course. Of
the
course.
cost of what you're trying to buy, and the interest rates or whatever institution you're getting a loan from. Because I know, for example, I was recently at the credit union, your job, state employees, talking to a loan officer about something like that, and they were saying that the variable rate was really the best thing that they could offer me at the time, but they were also saying that if I went to Coastal, the guy was like, "Hey, don't say nothing." But if you go to Coastal, they got a better 30-year program with
I'm gonna say
fixed
don't
rate.
say that because we don't get paid off commission anyway.
Right, but I guess he just felt bad about recommending a competitor. So
I do it all the time. But go ahead.
yeah, but you're a real one though. Everybody ain't real like you, Trey. So anyway, yeah, he was just saying that pretty much Coastal has the best 30-year fixed rate, 100% financed program out. When it
Yeah.
comes to
That's just true.
buying a house, at least in this area, this state.
Now, this is what I'll say about a variable and fixed rate. I think, especially in this days and time, with the culture that we're in and us, I think 90% of the time, variable rate is your guy. Now,
Why do you say that?
so back in the day, my grandma, she lived in this house in 1990. That's 20, 30 years. You know, the culture is moving to where we don't want to be in the same house for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I
Most
honestly,
of the
my
time, on
first
our
property.
first house, it's not going to be our final home. One, because
Right.
we're going to be making more money 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So usually what we do, go ahead and get a house to be homeowners. And, you know, we get a small house, a 2-bedroom, whatever. Then when you get kids, have a family, you have to rent it. You have to, get another house.
Right.
Of course, you can choose to rent out or whatever. But if you know you're not going to be in that house for more than 10 years, why not get the variable rate, which is going to be lower? And you already know when you get any type of mortgage, your first couple of years, you're paying the most amount of interest. So that means you got $900 mortgage payment. 600 of that, probably more, is going to the bank. That's straight off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
That's straight off the back. So you're only getting 200 on the principal with a 30-year mortgage, with any type of mortgage. So you might as well get the lowest rate, right, to have more down on principal, right? Because thing with a mortgage is you pay up you pay down the mortgage, you pay down the principal, and in due time your equity grows. That gives you that gap. It gives you that gap. So when you sell it, you can make a profit. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So if we know we're not going to be in the house for more than a certain period of time, why get the 30-year fix, pay all that money in interest, and then when it's time to sell it, you see the value of the house is 200,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay. I got $20,000 more in value than what I had five years ago, but you only paid 5 to 10,000 down on the principal because of the 5% rate, because of the 6% rate. You see what I'm saying?
So
So I always will say variable rate.
But how are you paying more towards the principal with the variable rate though?
But because your interest rate is lower, so more goes to principal every month.
Oh, I see
So
what
with
you're
a
saying.
variable rate, if it's like like right now, our variable rate is 3.3.
Mm,
Our 20-year fixed rate is like 4.25.
mm.
1% doesn't seem like a difference, but when you talk about $100,000, what's 1% of $100,000?
That's $1,000.
All right, so that shit adds up every month. So that's why that 1% costs you a lot on the back end.
Hmm.
Now people are scared of the variable rate in 5 years. It's going to change.
Right, and that was my concern when I was looking at variable rates. I'm like, okay, what would the interest rate be in 5 years? No one really knows, you know.
Right. Nobody knows. But let's just say so the people who bought did a 5 year in 2015, they're looking very smart right now.
Yeah.
So they ain't got to pay nothing. They're ready about to drop, right?
Right.
But say it's the opposite. Okay, say in 2025 the market is booming, and it's about to be a 1.5% jump. You just refi it, easy.
So you can still okay. I get what you're saying. So if you anticipate that your rate's about to jump up because you have a variable rate, then you can
And
actually switch to a fixed rate and lower your actual payment still.
you don't have to guess. They're gonna send you a rate sheet 6 months before it's time, telling you this will be your rate.
Hmm.
If you don't like it, refinance now. Bam.
And that's the same, isn't it? The same as vice versa. If you have a fixed rate mortgage, can't you
Yeah,
refinance that to a
yeah.
variable rate if it's a
Oh
good
yeah, of
time?
course. But the fixed rate, you will already be paying the highest rate at that point.
Right.
You will always be having the highest rate.
But what I'm saying is, when it
Yeah, but
comes
it's
time
just,
to refinance after a few years, you can still get a better interest rate with another fixed rate, or go to a variable rate if it makes sense.
yeah. That does, yeah. I see. Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah. So just wanted to let the people know that it's options either way you go.
You can
Regardless of
always,
whether you do a fixed rate or a variable rate,
now it's gonna be fees with that, but
isn't it
it's
it's
not like
feasible both, right, for refinancing?
feasible.
Yeah, you got to pay closing costs again, but it's not going to be anywhere near the closing costs that you pay when you initially get the property though.
Now, I'm glad you said about the closing costs. Say you get a variable rate, right?
Mm.
And you pay it for 5 years, and you want to go ahead and refinance that to a fix because you got the 5 year rate and you got the lowest rate, which you paid more down for principal. When they in 5 years, when they ask you what's the value of your home, right,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be more, and you've been paying the principal down, so you have more equity than what you would have had with a fixed rate. You can actually put the closing costs to the back of the loan.
Mm.
So say you had $20,000 in equity, right, and the closing cost is $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to pay that up front. You can actually refinance that money into the mortgage that you're about to get because you had that rate, you had that low rate for 5 years, and you build up equity.
Now,
So
wouldn't that cause, as opposed to you just paying that closing costs up front, wouldn't you tacking that on to the new loan cause you to end up paying more than that 1,500 in that closing fee? For that closing fee over time because it's part of the loan, so it's got interest associated with it now.
if you refinance to a lower rate, you'll make it up in the back burner.
Hmm.
Because if your rate is 5.0 and you want to refi to a 3.0,
Yeah.
right, you're going to make that money up in the background. You're still going to pay less when you refinance it than if you didn't do anything and just kept paying that 5% rate. So short term, yes. Long term, you won't. You will save money.
But it's still,
But
if you want to pay the least period, I'm just talking, principal and interest for that loan, right? If you want to pay the lowest amount for that mortgage loan, period, it's best
was
to just pay that closing cost out of pocket, that 1,500, and let them refinance the rest, right?
well, it depends on the rate, bro. Because if you refinance to a lower rate, then like I said, you're going to pay. you're going to pay less in the long run.
Right. I'm just looking at because I know you just said that $1,000 difference. If you're adding
Yeah,
an
yeah.
extra $1,000 on, that multiplies over the long run
But
because of the
I was
interest.
with the same rate though. We're talking about the same rate.
I see what you're saying.
So if you refinance to a lower rate, then it's going to be worth putting the 1,500 in the back burner.
Okay, makes
And when I
sense.
say it's going to pay off in the long run, I don't mean 10 years from now. I mean a good 2, 3 years, you'll get your money back. It's
Oh,
not like it's a year plan.
okay, cool.
Yeah, I already did the numbers for somebody, so I know like a good 2, 3 years, your actually payment will go way lower. Actually, the payment if you got a 4.5 and your new rate is like 3.3, it'll be a couple $100 that you're saving. So it could be in a year and a half you will get your money back, just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So, last topic before we get off tonight is life insurance. That's something I'm very well versed in. Whole or term life insurance. I just want to get your opinion on that and get an idea of how you feel about buying life insurance. Because I know a lot of people have life insurance through their jobs or through their benefits plan, but most people, at least most people I know, don't go outside and find additional
Right.
insurance to build to build that up with. They just rely on the insurance that their job is giving them or that they pay for it through their job. So kind of explain to the people why you recommend buying life insurance and why you recommend getting insurance on the marketplace that's not associated with your job.
Um, it's plain and simple. Um, we all born here. We all gotta die. We all gotta die. Why not benefit of your family member's death? You know what's gonna happen
Sounds
soon.
bad, but
It may not happen when you're 25. It may happen when you're 45, but you're gonna die, right? So, a lot of people got life insurance through their job,
mm,
and that's all they got. But what they don't realize is when you decide to leave your job or quit, you don't have any life insurance anymore. So that's dead, right? So I recommend, anybody who's out there, get your own life insurance, your personal life insurance. Now, home and term, I think it depends on your age. Really do, right? So, um, I think, you know, if you're 30 and younger, right? If you're 30 and younger, look at the whole life. Because when you're that young, say you that 30 to 20 years old range, right?
mm-hmm.
You get life insurance. Your life insurance will be literally $30 a month, $45 a month.
Yep.
You get 50K.
And I can vouch for it. I used to sell life insurance, so I can vouch for that.
Yes, I just got me another plan, but yeah, you get 45, $50, bam, bam, right? Actually, I would recommend two. I would recommend a term and a whole. But
Yeah, I got a mix. I got a mix of the two right now. I had term and I converted some of it to whole, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing over the course of years, is converting piece of that term to whole and adding additional whole life.
now, say you're 45 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got you got 20 years left on your mortgage. You have no life insurance. You try to get whole life, they're gonna charge $200 a month,
Well,
right?
shit, they're charging
So
more than that. How big of the policy you talking? Because $200 a month is actually cheap at 45 for a whole life.
yeah, I'm sorry, right? I'm glad you know that. Good.
So you might get a $50,000 policy for that much money at age 45. Whereas for that same $200, if you get that at age 25, you'll have like 200 or 250 or even $300,000. You know.
Great. So this is what we're gonna do. If you're 45, you're 40 years old, you're gonna get a term, 20-year fix, 30-year, whatever you want. But that's to cover the mortgage. So you can get a $500,000 life insurance, a 30-year term, for about $45, $50 too,
Yeah.
right? So even though it expires, if something happened to you in that 30 years, your your wife, your child, they'll get that money, because you don't want to leave your loved ones with bills and shit.
Yep.
So they'll be able to pay the mortgage off, things like that. I think not having life insurance is like a selfish act. So when you pass, your spouse will be able to, pay the house off and take care of the children, especially if you're the only breadwinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Now, what I recommend too is with whole life, go ahead and get your child. You're talking about saving money for your children. You can go ahead and get your child a whole life policy too when they're young.
Oh man, I'm talking about as soon as they come out the womb. Like
Well,
there's
be
it's
$50 a month.
and that price is locked in for the life of the policy.
And guess what? For the life of the policy, $10 a month. And then crazy thing is, all my life insurance with New York Life,
Mm-hmm.
they get about 6% dividends,
Yep.
which is unheard.
Yep. I'm with Northwestern Mutual. They do something similar.
Oh yeah,
And
they
we
should
can
do.
and we can get we can pull from the actual cash value of the whole life insurance policy once the policy builds up to a certain point. You know,
Yeah,
you can actually
you
start borrowing money from that policy, borrowing money from yourself, pretty much, and you can use that money for anything. Pretty much,
you
you don't have to say, "Hey, I need this
can
money
borrow
for XYZ." You could just call up your insurance company and tell them you need to borrow against that policy. And
tax no got my dividends. I ain't got to borrow it. I don't have to. There's no
what
taxes involved.
what was that? I'm sorry, you had went out for a second. What was that?
So with the dividends, you saying borrow, like I can actually just take the dividends out and use it for what I want,
Oh
tax
yeah, yeah.
free.
But my dividends are reinvested back into the policy, so I got mine set
Right, right.
to reinvest back into the
Oh,
policy
okay,
automatically.
okay. Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
so anything that I withdraw from like they don't send me a check for my dividends, which I could switch it to, but I figured it'll build the value of the policy more quicker
of
over
course,
time if I just reinvest the dividends.
of course.
So
And we're forgetting one thing: it's tax free.
yeah, right,
It is
right.
tax.
Tax free money.
America tax everything. They want tax on this. Thank God.
Yeah, so for people that are looking for ways to reduce that taxable income, let's say you need a couple grand to knock yourself down to the next tax bracket. Well, might want to consider buying some whole life insurance ASAP and throwing money into that, as much money as you possibly can. So
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that way you can rest assured knowing that your taxable income is at its lowest amount possible. Now, another thing you want to keep in mind with the whole life insurance policies, it takes typically over a decade, between 12 and 15 years, to build up a decent cash value.
yeah.
So don't expect to just start building cash value from day one and be like, oh, 6 months from now I want to take out a withdrawal or a borrow against my policy. It doesn't work like that. The
Okay.
cash value accumulates more and more over time. So the longer you keep that money sitting in there, you'll allow it to cook, as my advisors used to say. The longer you allow the better your return will be, or your cash value will be in the long run. Is there anything else that
Yeah.
you wanted to touch on about whole life or term or just life insurance in general?
Dividends, whole life. Get it when you're young. Oh, now I have seen a group of people do this. Say they got a grandma or they got a great grandma
Mm-hmm.
and she's 60, she's 65. Say the grandma got six kids. I have seen this done. They all 5 and 6. Put a life insurance on her. Say a 20-year term,
Mm-hmm.
and it's high as hell. So they both say all 5 of them probably paying like $75 a month.
After they grow up, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like the grandma's grown. She's like 60 years old.
Right, but I'm
She
saying
has
she
five.
she she's buying a 20-year term policy on herself, right?
No, the kids are buying it for her.
Oh,
So the
okay.
kids are paying. So they split the monthly payment up. So
Right.
$75 a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, we all gotta die. So why not capitalize life insurance? They're gonna get her on a 20, 30-year term, right?
Right.
But they're all gonna split the cost.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the odds of her being alive until she's 90 years old?
Not very likely, I would say,
Right.
but it's a
They're going
possibility.
to do it. They're all going to split up the cost, say $75 a month, and they're going to, as the beneficiaries, they're all going to split it 5 ways.
But now, is that a problem? Do you see anything wrong with this, or do you think this is a good idea?
I think that's a great idea. I mean, if you're not even feeling trying to, talk about death and stuff, but I
Yeah,
think that's a great idea. Especially
yeah,
if you're splitting them equally.
yeah.
Everybody's paying $70 a month. Bam. That's 10 racks right there you'll get.
Now, just something to keep in mind here. Everyone's not eligible for life insurance at that particular stage in life because some people have pre-existing conditions.
All right.
It's depending on what company you go to, especially the better
Yeah.
companies with the better pricing and the better coverage. They're only able to offer that level of quality because they're very, very selective when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
who they bring on as clients. So, certain companies like the Northwestern Mutuals or the New York Lifes, they might deny someone on the basis of them being overweight or them having diabetes or high blood pressure or anything that can be considered a pre-existing condition when it comes to that stage in life. I've seen people but denied for all types of reasons. Like I said, diabetes, um, heart heart conditions, heart disease, heart attacks in the past,
And
cancer
if
in the
you smoke,
past.
they're going to boost that up too.
Oh man, yeah. If you're a smoker, you're paying 3-4 times more a month. Um, yeah.
Now, with state employees, we don't get a doctor's background check.
So they just give you the policy. They give everybody the same rates.
They give everybody the policy same rate. I think once you pass like 57, you can't get a policy anymore.
What age? 37.
And they're going to actually be smoking out. They're going to actually be smoking stuff or not too.
What age did you say? 37.
I think it's 57.
57.
57.
Now,
Yeah.
because they don't discriminate, based on health or anything, have you found that y'all rates are typically higher because they gotta account for,
So
less
that's a
healthy?
great. So I got my little nephew a policy like last week.
Mhm.
He's 8 years old. They quoted him for $20 a month for 50K.
Mhm.
New York Life said $31 for 50K.
What?
So state employees lower. Yeah,
$31 for 50K? Oh,
yeah.
this is whole life insurance though. This is not term, right?
This whole
Yeah, this whole. I'm thinking term. Like that's crazy. That's expensive. But yeah, if it's whole
yeah.
life, that makes sense. Um,
But I went with New York because they
Dividends.
don't offer dividends,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
State
And I'm
employees.
thinking and they don't offer no dividends, nothing.
State employees. So that 50K will be 50K. Regardless, it doesn't go up over time.
It don't go up.
Mm.
I look at it. You can pull it out, but there's no dividends or nothing.
But you still got to build up that cash, that cash
Yeah,
base
takes
before
10,
you.
takes 15,
You said what? It takes 15 years.
takes 15 years. And they don't offer dividends or nothing, but they don't require like a background check of your health. Oh, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did the New York Life because it offers dividends.
But
And when he give it to him,
yeah.
you know what I mean? He gonna have dividends out the ass, especially when he get 35, 40 years old. So
Now,
that's why I higher.
now, if you have to be a member of the credit union to be able to get that policy through them, though, right?
Yes. And your beneficiaries. All I got, not your beneficiaries. Just you have to get a membership. Yeah. So
Okay.
get a policy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that
Mother,
pr-
father,
pretty
child.
much answers all of the questions. Oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to touch on too. If you going through Northwestern Mutual to get life insurance, shout your boy out if you're gonna do that. But we offer, or I said we because like I'm still work there. But well I guess I can say we because I got a policy with them. But Northwestern offers term 80 policies too. They're like the only company I know of, or the only company on their level that offers term 80 policies, which is a term life insurance policy, just like any other term life insurance policy, but it doesn't expire until goes up over time as your age goes up. So it starts off really cheap, and then it gets more expensive as you get older. But the general rule of thumb is we recommend, like you said, anybody in their early 30s or younger get the term policy, and then as they get older, start converting pieces of that to whole life. So you can convert 50K chunks at a time at a minimum. So if you got like a $500,000 policy, you can convert 50K over time, 50K and then 50K a couple years from now, 50K a couple years from now, until you convert the whole 500. And then by the time you hit your 50s, you don't have any term insurance left. It's all whole life insurance. And so you locked it in at that rate at a young age. So you're not going to
How
be
much?
paying as much as you would have been paying if you would have got a $500,000 policy, whole life policy at age 55, as opposed to locking it in at a young age and converting it over time.
How much do they charge you to convert it?
It's free. That's free. It's the convertibility part. What makes up the cost difference is the fact that you're converting piece of that term to the whole life, because whole life insurance just costs more in general. So that's what you're
So
paying
you're
for. It's the
paying more
difference.
per month
Right. So like,
to.
so let's say you're paying $25 a month for $100,000 term 80 policy. Well, you convert 50K of that to whole life. That $25 a month might go up to $60 or $75 a month, because you're paying $20 or $15, because it decreases the amount for the term policy because you just converted half of
Right.
it. So now let's say you're paying $15 for the term part, but you're paying $40 or $50 for the whole life part now, $5 a month. If that makes sense.
You can get out dividends. I know you got to wait a certain per time. Does that reset, or does that turn? You can still get the same.
What do you mean?
So like for the cash out for dividends, of course you got to let it sit in the pot for 10 years.
Right.
Does it reset once you convert it, or you can
So you don't
get
get any
out?
dividends. You don't get the dividends with the term life. That's just for whole life. So you start accruing those dividends as
Oh,
soon as that whole life part is converted.
got you. And your plan is to convert your whole term until.
Whole life, yeah. I got a 500,000 term policy. I'm converting part of it, to whole life over time, and so yeah, I've already converted a nice chunk of it, and I'm of it until I'm like 29, 30 to be realistic. So, yeah.
Got you.
Yep. But
Okay.
anything else before we come to a conclusion and wrap this up? Is there anything else in particular you wanted to touch on, whether it was this or anything else we talked about tonight?
I think we pretty much got it. Do it another time. More topics, more things like that.
Word,
Make you
word.
think.
Man, I really appreciate you joining me tonight, bro. I feel like we touched on. I didn't even feel like we've been on for like over an hour and a half at this point, pretty much. But it doesn't even feel like that long, because it's good conversations, man. We've been dropping a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. You're welcome back anytime, bro. Like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like we gotta switch it up every now and then, man. Normally we talking pop culture, we talking sports, entertainment, world news, but I like to switch it up every now and then and really, you know, just drop knowledge on the people, because it's crazy times we living in, and if we could just balance that out with, some uplifting stuff, some truly life changing information every now and then, I feel like I'm really doing everything I need to do.
Yes, sir. It's just true. Real shit.
But until next time, people, like I said before, I appreciate all of the viewers that have joined in tonight and made sure that they got some of this knowledge we dropped. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All of my social media is at the bottom on that bottom bar. So YouTube, especially on Facebook or Twitch or any of my other social media, is usually on YouTube as well. That's where I like to keep pretty much all of my content. So if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And until next time, I'll see you guys next week for the next episode.